guess I'm going to have to reprise my role as the local bad guy in Cincinnati. I've got to be the one to keep it real with you about the stuff that we see in the news. And this morning will be no different. You know, I don't shy away from the controversy. It is what it is. Full frontal commentary on the United show. Let's take it from the top. Wait, what? I read yesterday that the mayor is suggesting that the city spent $250,000 on a Black Lives Matter mural. If so, that is ignorant as, well, you know the rest. We must discuss this morning. I already know that some of my black artist friends won't like this flow, but it comes with the territory. It is what it is. Buckle up this morning, folks. More tearless and fearless commentary from one man with one mic. Good morning to you. Welcome back to the show. Again, 513-873-7134 is your number. Now, the city of Cincinnati is scheduled to get $290 million from the Biden administration. This is like once in a generation money. And I don't know if we came up with a long list of all of the issues that Cincinnati is dealing with. I'm talking about Cincinnati in general. I'm not even talking about Black Cincinnati. I'm talking about Cincinnati in general. If you made a list of all of the issues that you think need to be addressed, raise your hand if the Black Lives Matter mural is on your list. I'd like to know because it's not on my list. And shame on city council, man. Shame on city council for playing games with these artists. I blame each and every member of city council. I'm not changing one bit. I told you this, when was it, last year? I'm telling you again. City council, shame on you. Because they knew that they didn't have the infrastructure in place to support the mural, and they ran it out there anyway and gassed a lot of people up and got a lot of people excited. And these members of city council, these men and women, all of them that voted for this, knew that they didn't have the infrastructure in place. It's a damn travesty. Man, listen, I'm born and raised in Cincinnati. There's murals all over the city. Some of the most beautiful murals in the city, right? And none of them are on the ground. Not a one, except for the Black Lives Matter mural. And I was down there in front of City Hall last year. I don't know, it was like November. I was doing a video shoot. And it was right there on the mural in front of City Hall. And I mean, it was very apparent that, you know, people, that the friction, just the wear and tear of it was destroying, was eroding, was wearing away all of the hard work that the artist involved did. You know, props to the artist. Of all the people involved with this, it's the artist that I have the least problem with. Because if you're an artist, you just want to create art. You know what I'm saying? And I will say this about Cincinnati, man. Cincinnati is good at a couple things. We are good at art. We love art projects and 5K runs and eating cheese conies outside with a mug with a cup of beer. We love that. We're great at all those things. We are great at that. Equity policy intangibles, affordable housing, closing the wealth pay gap. Not so good. Not so good. Got a little room to grow there. 200, and this is once in a generation money. Now you might be saying, Nate, 290 million, 250,000, that's nothing. That's small. And I would agree with you. Relatively speaking, it is small. $250,000 compared to 290 million is relatively small, but shouldn't we have a big list of priorities that we all agree to and are reading off of as the city divvies up once in a generation financial windfall? And the mayor think he really doing something. I saw that she thought he really doing something. We going $250 for the black. I don't give a damn about $250,000 for a Black Lives Matter mural. So what? And as I told you last year, I'm gonna tell you again, black folks are in the same position now as we were before the project started. Nothing has changed. Don't let these folks have you run around like a hamster on a hamster wheel. Don't let them do that to you. And I see it, and it burns me up. I blame the politicians. I blame everybody on city council that voted for this because they knew that they didn't have the infrastructure in place to properly maintain it moving forward. And I guess they figured we'll just Figure it out as we go along. And I'm just saying that the black community deserves more than just we just gonna figure it out as we go along. You know what I'm saying? We deserve more than that, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Now I know a lot of my black artist friends ain't gonna like these flows, but damn it, you gonna get this work too. It is what it is. It is what it is. Now, as strident, as bold as I'm speaking right now, I must admit that I'm not infallible. I don't have all the answers. I haven't figured it all out, because if I did, we'd be living better. Okay? So there might be some alternative points of view. There might be some information that I'm not aware of, and I would love it if you would share that with me this morning. Okay? Don't let your boy sound crazy on the radio. Hit me with the facts. If I'm wrong about something, please set the record straight. All right? Don't have me out there looking crazy. Don't do that. Good morning to you. Don't have me out here looking crazy. There's my number. If I'm wrong about something, if I'm saying if I've got the facts wrong, which is totally possible because I'm a very fallible human, then please call me up or hit me with a message and let me know. But until you do, this sounds like some dumb shit to me. Here we go again. Here we go with some dumb shit. I don't know, man. I mean, again, I'm in no position to make these decisions, but we've heard all about how COVID, this is COVID money, by the way. This is COVID money. So I guess you can do whatever you want to do with it, and that's what they're going to do, and it's great. I saw the press conference yesterday with John Cranley, the mayor, a Cincinnati white male Democrat, and he loves the arts. Who doesn't like the arts? We all love art. And what's your point? And apparently they're going to spend a lot of money on outdoor concerts and shit like that. I told you, Cincinnati we love to be outside with our food and our drugs. Preferably alcohol, your favorite custom designer, whatever beer, right? From your favorite spot with some entertainment. We love that shit. Cincinnatians we all about that. Wait a minute, outdoor entertainment with food and drinks? Oh, you got us. We love that. We love it. I'm not telling you that I don't love it. I'm from Cincinnati too. But tell me where I'm wrong. This just sounds ignorant as fuck to me. I'm just be honest with you. Excuse my language. Not sorry with my language. It just sounds real dumb. And what they need to do is take that mural and find a great place where it's not on the fucking ground. Because if not, then what that means is that every year this whole thing has to be revisited. So every year everybody's going to get their art set and go downtown and retouch it. Does that make any fucking sense? Why y'all letting them play you like that? The hell? You got all these beautiful art murals all over the city. None of them are on the ground. Not a one. Not one. But the Black Lives Matter mural, and we supposed to act like that don't mean something. Stop letting these folks play you. And I blame the city council members that gassed all these people's heads up and didn't have the proper infrastructure and plans in place to make it permanent. I blame you, members of city council. I told you then, I'm telling you now. It's your fault because you knew better. You knew you didn't have the proper infrastructure in place. You knew it, and you did it anyway because you was going along with the politics. It was post-George Floyd. We got to do something for black folks. Well, I'll tell you what, why don't you bring us some equity policy intangibles? How about that? But y'all coming through with a mural. We are seeing an example of why we can't move forward fast enough in this city right here with this Black Lives mural. Just using this as a microcosm. We're seeing what the problem is. It's very smart too for the powers that be. I'm gonna run it down for you in a second. I see you working. Now, somebody might send a photograph in like, well, here it is, Nate. Here's a mural. It's on the ground too. I'd love to see it. Perhaps somewhere in the city of Cincinnati, there is a very popular mural that was done by a lot of serious artists, and it's on the ground. I haven't heard about it. Now, some people might be saying, well, Nate, that's what they did in D.C. I don't give a damn about what they did in D.C. That's part of our problem. Who gives a damn about what they did somewhere else? I'm talking about Cincinnati. So don't hit me with well, in D.C. they've got it. I don't care. I don't live in D.C. I live in Cincinnati. All right, I'm just telling you. So let's take it from the top, because some people are going, and I already know, I've had these conversations before, and people want to try to make it seem like I'm anti-black artist. And that's what some black people do when they get in their feelings. They want to lash out at you. Well, go right ahead. Feel free to do what you got to do. I'm going to do the same. I think it's dumb as hell. And um, it's going to continue to be vandalized. You know that. It's just the nature of, really immature individuals, or if you want to say racist individuals, whatever the case may be. Somebody dumped red paint on it. They still haven't found and never going to find the person. So it's still going to become a target for vandalism. And so what's this going to be? So every time somebody deface it, it's going to be this big thing in a news article about how the artist got to go back down there. That just seems like a hamster on a hamster wheel to me. Like, it's got you moving fast as hell, but you ain't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? All these big old press conference and ceremony, F all of that. All of it. It was done back then. Remember people was doing the two-step on it? Remember that last year? And I told you it was going to do that. People was like, oh, Nate, you know what you're talking about. Told you. I know my people down there fucking step dancing on it. Like we've accomplished something. All I'm saying is I've seen these videos before where it's like the caption of the video is, don't celebrate until you actually cross the finish line. So I seen this video where this woman, it was track and field. I don't know the exact event. She was way out ahead and she started to slow up a little bit and she got lapped. Somebody caught up with her. And it seems like we're celebrating before there's anything really to celebrate. You know what I'm saying? We get the equity policy intangibles. Then we put our stamp of approval on it. That's what it sounds like to me. Or at the very least, if you're a member of city council and you vote for something like that, at what you owe the artist and all the people who care about it is to make sure you got your fucking plans together. So it's not like a big old question mark about what's going to happen. That's at the very least what you owe these individuals. At the very least, you owe these artists and all the folks involved. If you're a member of city council and you support this, at the very least, you owe them the hardest attempt you can make to make sure that it's not in vain. You know what I'm saying? They should have worked us out last year. It's a travesty, quite honestly, but I want to know how you feel about it. 513-873-7134. And then what's going to happen with this $290 million? Is there like a big list of like what everybody wants or what the city wants? I know, and I'll read to you, was sent to me yesterday by a concerned listener who's very on top of these kind of things. I do know there's been several proposals from member of city council. I want to read through that just to give you a sense. Again, that $290 million is once in a generation financial windfall money. This money ain't coming through every year. We got one shot at this. So I would hope that our city leaders, and I'm sure they will, they're very smart people. I would hope that they're going to make some investments that's really going to have an impact into our future. You know what I'm saying? That's what I would hope. Like, what's the use of having $290 million if in a year or two you ain't got shit to show for it? You know what I'm saying? What's the use of that? What's the use of that? And I keep hearing about all these businesses going under. Save these businesses. Isn't that COVID money is what it's for and other things? Minority-owned and Black-owned businesses struggling. You still have a real issue in this city in terms of getting funding for startups. That's still an issue. I know you got organizations in the city that's doing their thing, but they ain't hitting everybody. Their budgets are not unlimited. You know what I'm saying? $250,000 for some paint on the ground, and city council has no plan whatsoever to protect it and to restore it. But we supposed to be happy about this. No. We ain't doing that. At least I'm not doing that. But again, these are my feelings. This is how I feel about it. You might feel completely differently. That's okay. We can always agree to disagree this morning. Always. I'd like to get your thoughts on it. That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of things going on that we must discuss this morning. If you want to share your thoughts, I think that my number is on the screen. Yeah, it's still up on the screen. 513-873-7134 if you want to share your thoughts. Ray Rice here. Sharp Rice, good morning, Nate and the Choppas. Good morning to you, Sharp. Good morning, Ray. Brenda Rice, happy Thursday. Damn, this week is going so fast. I don't know why this week is going fast. Like, I don't know, it's because my kids are on spring break right now. I was talking with my daughter last night. She was like, I can't believe tomorrow's Thursday. I'm like, damn, it is Thursday. I was talking to someone else last week, and we were both remarking about how fast this week is going. Is it just me? Or is this week going super fast? Tracy writes, hi. The Politically Petty Show writes, morning, Nate and the Choppas. Ray writes, Soul Cincinnati. You're right. This is Soul Cincinnati. $250,000. And again, I mean, I still have questions about, again, these are just me. As a citizen, I have a right to have questions about it. Doesn't mean my opinion is going to change a damn thing. I got no expectations on that. But I'm here to give you a strong opinion this morning, so I'm going to do just that. Okay, and I'm giving you my opinion about it. Number one, I blame the members of city council that did not do their due diligence before they voted on this idea last year. Many of them, if not all of them, got caught up in the rapture of, and maybe they were well intentioned, but your intent and your impact can be two completely different things. I'm not suggesting per se that I believe that the members of city council that voted for this last year, some of whom I know, are necessarily, bad people or had bad spirits. What I'm saying is that if you're going to invest this time and energy, like I've seen these good folks do, tremendous artists, by the way, it's a great piece. If you're going to ask these people to make that kind of investment, then damn it, you need to cross your T's and dot your I's before they start the work on it, before they start the process on it, not afterward. And you remember what happened? It's a few months after that Black Lives Matter mural, the former, now he's moved away to a new city, a new job. The former city manager came out and said, we ain't got no plans for this. That's what he said, baby. We ain't got no money and we ain't got no plans. Plaza? How are we going to do a plaza when you got residences and business down here? These folks don't. So there's a lot more questions. I'm sure that the smart people will figure it all out. I'm sure. I've heard about them turning it into a plaza and all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I like art. But if I'm making a top 3 list, that ain't on it. I'm just sorry. It ain't on. We got huge affordable housing crisis. We got all kinds of issues. This what we spending money on? Is what we spending money on? I mean, that could be 2 grants, $125,000 each to another business out here. It could be a new idea or an existing idea. Maybe I just think differently. Okay. But or maybe I don't. Maybe we agree. Maybe you're thinking, Nate, I was thinking the same thing. Or you might be like, this Negro is on something this morning. I'm turning this off. Do what you got to do. Do you. It makes no difference to me. Last time I brought this up, I had black people trying to come at me personally. Yeah, they want to attack me personally because they didn't like what I was saying about some fucking paint on the ground. That's all it really is. Let's call it what it is. And for all those people out there that want to try to spin it, Nate don't care about black artists. Well, put your money where your mouth is. I got several $100s worth of local black art in this room right now. How much do you have in your room right now? You put your money where your mouth is. I got a piece right there that was somewhere between 3 and 5. I can't remember. Great piece. Shout out to Les. So, I mean, I hear you, but it just don't really make a lot of sense. Hold on one second. All right. Got it in here. Okay, great. Thank you, black woman. I had to say what's up to the wifey. She stepped out this morning. The wifey out here trying to work out. I'm like, I see you. You ain't working out without me. I'm working out too. Your spouse trying to get their body together. Nah. You ain't gonna be all super tight for the summertime. I'm over here looking all like Larry Holmes, flabby and said, it ain't happening. Trying to get their body together on a low. I see you working. She said my body already together. Okay. You know what I'm trying to say though. Trying to get all rock hard out here. And then I'm supposed to be standing next to you looking like, who is this? We ain't doing that. We both working out. Ashley writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you, Ashley. How are you? Hope you're doing well. Maurice is in the house. What's up, Maurice? Glorious resurrection. I agree. Thank you. A lot of smart. I mean, people got to get out their feelings and look at it for what it really is and hear what I'm actually saying. You know what I'm saying? It's dumb as hell. And so is this going to be $250,000 every year? Like I said, I mean, to me, I think the smartest thing would have been to put it on the side of a building. But this is hindsight is 2020. I know that when this decision was made, that was the rage, right? Because in DC and in Florida and all right, everybody was putting Black Lives Matter murals on the ground. So nobody could think outside of that, right? But when I look at the murals in Cincinnati, I don't see none of them on the ground. None. Zero. Except for the Black Lives Matter mural that gets destroyed by friction and vandalism and all kinds of other things. Why is that? Well, I mean, that's what they wanted, I guess. They wanted to be on the ground in front of City Hall. That's cool. So they got what they wanted. But so now what happens is we spend more time talking about the mural than we do equity policy intangibles. Because talking about the mural is safer for local media than talking about equity policy intangibles. Local media would far rather report on and talk about and fawn over a mural than they would Black people in Cincinnati actually getting an agenda, equity, policy, intangibles. Stop me when I'm wrong. Stop me when I'm wrong, family. Tell me I'm wrong about that. Naisha's in the house. She writes, good morning. Hey, good to see you, Naisha. We got to catch up. Brian writes, good morning. Joe is in the house. Joe writes, Grand Risings, Nate, and the Choppas. Good morning to you. Jerome's in the house. Said Jerome's in the house. See how I did that? I ain't even moved my lips. I've been working on my scales. For what reason, I don't know. But Jerome writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppas. Danita writes, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you, Danita. Kaz is in the house. Good morning to you, Kaz. Hey, Choppas. Ronald writes, good morning, y'all. Good morning to you. Naisha writes, foolishness. Well, this is what passes for equity policy intangibles, right? Now, it's not to say you can't do both things. It's not to say there aren't people in the city that's pushing for equity policy intangibles. Of course there are. We know that. Obviously, props to them. I'm talking about this dumb shit down here. With this paint on this ground, can we come to a resolution so we don't have to keep revisiting this shit every single year is what I'm saying. I don't want to have that conversation locally every year about, do we have enough money to retouch the Black Lives Matter mural? And is there even a Black Lives Matter chapter in Cincinnati? We got a mural with no chapter. Or maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe there is a chapter. If there is, props to you. I wish you the best in all your work. Hope you be successful. Federal COVID relief money would restore Black Lives Matter mural in front of City Hall. You're a citizen. If you are a citizen of Cincinnati, I'd like to know how you feel about that. In specific, I want to know how you feel about the Black Lives Matter mural. In particular, I'm asking Black tax-paying Cincinnatians or greater Cincinnatians what you think about it. In general, I mean, if you had a list of priorities, what would be the priority for $290 million? I mean, how often does the city of Cincinnati get $290 million? Not too often. So this money is either going to be used to advance us and push us into the future or maintain the status quo. I'm reading that the mayor is a big fan of Blink Cincinnati. Blink, B-L-I-N-K. I've gone to Blink before when they were here in Cincinnati last time, and it was a hella good time. It was a lot of walking, but it was a hella good time, though. Very unique. It just transforms the city in the night light or in the night sky and all the beautiful lights and cool creative stuff. It was cool, right? Then when you have an event like that, then other people can do events during that event and do whatever they're doing, right? But I'm reading they're getting like $1 million of this COVID light relief money because the city really wants them to get I guess the city really believes that they play a real role in helping to, promote the city or resuscitate businesses or whatever the case may be. They'll be back. Blink Cincinnati, as I understand, will be back in 2022. I went to it. It was a lot of fun. Do they need to get $1 million right now? I don't think fucking so. But who am I? Again, I'm just a private citizen. I'm not the city manager. I don't have all the details like the city manager does. I mean, these are city manager recommendations, backed by the mayor. But again, if I had a big list of priorities, Blink wouldn't be on it. But it's $290 million. You can spread that money around a lot. $290 million means you can spread $1 million to 290 different projects. So it'll be interesting to see, I know the city's going to take care of the budget and put some money away for a rainy day and be all that kind of stuff and be financially responsible and all those kind of good things. And that's great. But beyond that, what's the idea? What's going to be the investment? And I'm sure there will be, but what's going to be the investment in the future? What's going to be the investment in the future? Maurice writes, that money is going to white folks. Not to just be so black and white with it, but I did observe yesterday when I was watching it that I only saw they had this press conference on the steps of some place and they were talking about the arts and people were singing and things like that. It was super boring to me, but I watched it anyway. And I didn't see a whole lot of black people sitting there. The only black person I saw there was Jan Michelle McCurney, who was a member of city council. So it makes sense that she would be there. And she was standing right next to Bessie Sunderman. And I'm gonna go ahead and put it out there because it's on my heart to say it, man. I mean, this alliance between, Kearney and Sunderman irritates me. Now I know they're just doing what they got to do. I'm not saying that, Sister Kearney is doing anything wrong. She's doing what she should be doing. I'm just saying that every time I see her, and in any way she's linked to Bessie Sunderman, it irritates me. I'm just telling you. That's how I feel about it. I'm like, what the hell? You don't need her. She's just trying to be cool with you so we can think she all right. That's what I be thinking. I'm not saying that Sister Kearney is doing anything wrong. She's not. If you're a member of city council, she's supposed to work with everybody and try to find common ground. I'm just telling you that there's an honest part of me that when I see them together, I feel like Bessie Sunderman is just like trying to be close to Sister Kearney so we don't think that she's as bad as everybody keeps saying she is. I'm talking about Bessie Sunderman. I'm just being honest with you. You ain't thought the same thing? I'm just telling you. You know what I'm saying? Please don't misconstrue my words. Janine writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppas. So I bring this up because yesterday during this press conference, Bessie Sunderman was standing right next to Sister Kearney. I bet she was. Bessie Sunderman, I could never vote for Bessie Sunderman right now. Maybe, something will happen in the near future, but right now I'm seeing we got a problem on council. That's just me. Brenda writes, good morning from Fairfield. Good morning to you. Anthony writes, morning chop shoppers. Good morning to you. Tiff is in the house. Good morning to you. Kelly Prather is in the house. Good morning to you, Kelly. Naisha writes, preach. We are not good at what matters. We're not good at what matters in the city. You know what I'm saying? We are not good at it. We're not good at it. We're good at a lot of things in Cincinnati, but the things that really matter most to take us from where we are now to becoming that city in the future that's more inclusive, that's more diverse, that's more equitable, we ain't so good at that. We struggle with all of that. You know what I'm saying? Supporting the arts, we good at it. Lifting kids out of poverty, terrible. Absolutely abject failure. Absolutely. We good at that. Giving multi-million-dollar developers more money, great at that. Creating a city in which there's more financial equity, terrible. Absolutely terrible at that. We're terrible at it. We're terrible at it. Simple as that. I don't think anybody's going to disagree with that. We're terrible across the board. Fame Rothstein Sports Betting Show writes, good morning, Nathan and his audience. Nathan faked dissing the Cincinnati Council. Most of the members are his Democrat friends. Joe Biden wants to allow warrantless searches. I hate it here. You said most of them are my Democrat friends. Let me see. I'm trying to think of the people on city council right now. I mean, there's some folks I'm friendly with. To me, the word friend, I take that very, very seriously. I don't throw that around lightly. Okay. I don't throw certain words around lightly. I don't express emotion and affection toward other human beings lightly. I don't just throw that around. If I say it, it's because I mean it. And I mean it because the people I'm saying about have earned that in me. So we might look at the word friends a little differently, but are there some people on city council who were on city council when this decision were made who I was friendly with? Oh, absolutely. And I'm talking about them too. They was dead wrong to not make sure that they had the infrastructure in place before they had the black artists running around here getting all jazzed up about a Black Lives Matter mural. I don't care who it was, friend or foe. I can drink it now. Some honey. Could you grab it for me? I'll put it in there. The good honey. The good honey. Y'all need to know. Stay out of my business. Joe Biden wants to allow warrantless searches. I hate it here. Is that right? Is that right? Oh, Joe Dancer, your life is calling. Carmelita writes, good morning, Nate and the Choppas. Good morning to you. Charles writes, Grand Risings, Nate. Thank you so much, love. Grand Risings, Nate and the Choppas. Dale writes, Cincinnati has always and always been, will be superficial, Nate. You know this. You're right. That, man, Daryl, that is a great way of describing the Black Lives Matter mural. It is superficial. And you're right. Cincinnati has always been good with the superficial stuff. We prefer in some areas being superficial over being authentic. And it ain't even close in a lot of areas. Okay, so I want to make sure we hear, because I know a lot of people in this city. I know a lot of artists, and I don't mind people not liking me in general, especially for something that I actually said or did. Like if that's what I said or did, and that's how I feel, then it is what it is. But I want to, it matters to me to be specific so that when I'm talking, that I'm actually saying and conveying what I feel. That's important to me, just as a creative. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if somebody got a problem with me because of something I didn't say, I don't like that. I want to set the record straight. If it's something I did say, then it is what it is. Yeah, you saw that. Yes. William writes, let the mayor lead the campaign to raise private funds. Yeah. Yep. Maurice writes, facts, Nate. You got my tea here, so you don't think I'm just licking a spoon. Like, what in the fuck? Why is he licking that spoon right there? Danita writes, and good morning to you, sis. She writes, I thought this money was donated and earmarked for the mural. If that is the case, the city couldn't take the $250K and move it to any of the tangibles you're speaking of. If someone gives you money and say spend it to this, then it is what it is. So you couldn't take it. That's not what I think. That's not my understanding of it, Danita. I'm not saying you're wrong, but that is just not my understanding of it. It's not. If you go to the Cincinnati Business Courier this morning, they have an article that Chris Rhetoric wrote in which he breaks down like all of the various plans for the money. So this flow is not just about the Black Lives Matter mural. This flow this morning is just to put on your radar screen, just to get you thinking about, okay, there's $290 million coming in. What are our city leaders going to do with it? And since they're a reflection of our will, what is our will with the $290 million? I just want people to think like that. I just want you to think like that. I mean, this is not just about the Black Lives Matter mural. It's a part of it. I only bring these flows up because I care about my people. And I hate to see my people get played. You know what I'm saying? I hate that. Let me see. Fame writes, Alt Middle came to stir the damn drink. Nathan is mixing for y'all. Okay, we'll stir it then, brother. Stir it up. I love it. Andriel writes, good morning, Nathan and friends. I mean, listen, we just disagreeing, but we don't have to be disagreeable. Like I said, you can have the strongest divergent, contrary opinion in the world. And you're going to get nothing but love here from me and nothing but respect on and off the phone. Now, if you call it and say some dumb ish, I might attack your logic, but I'll never attack you personally. I don't do that. I'm not into personal attacks. This is about the people's business, nothing more than that. Dale writes, Cincinnati can give a masterclass to big cities on placating Black people, image over substance. He said Cincinnati can give a masterclass to big cities on placating Black people, image over substance. Yeah, I mean, Daryl, I can't tell you. I mean, what you just wrote there, what I'm reading right now, strikes straight to how I feel about it. I feel like there's a lot of placating going on. And as I said again, I blame the members of city council. If you're going to support a Black Lives Matter mural, then damn it, you owe all those artists, you owe Alandis Powell, everybody involved. You owe those folks to make sure that you got everything in check beforehand so you don't waste a lot of people's time, money, effort, and energy. That's at the very least. It's irresponsible to do anything else. And that's what I'm trying to get people to see and look at this. We can go back and forth about whether you think the Black Lives Matter mural matters or not. I've given you my thoughts about it. You know what I'm saying? But I think we all can agree, no matter where we might fall in, because some people out there that straight hate my guts right now. I get it. Okay, I signed up for it. They like, oh, this Negro. He just want people to listen to his show. Whatever people got to tell themselves, okay? But I think we'll all agree, like I just said, that if you're a member of city council and you vote for the Black Lives Matter mural, then your ass needs to make sure that the infrastructure is in place to support the project from beginning all the way to the end. We shouldn't even be talking about this right now. It should have already been taken care of. And that's where the placating comes in. I remember what the move was last year. There's a lot of concerned people. A lot of concerned people. A lot of people in the post George Floyd, post Breonna Taylor world who want to do something. They want to show they care about Black people. They love Black people. So I can only arrive at that conclusion about the various members of city council. I mean, I'm not going to assume that these folks were straight up trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. I don't want to believe that. What I want to believe is that people were caught up in the rapture of trying to do something good and didn't think it all the way out. That's what I want to believe. Okay. Cause like Fame said, I know some of these folks that was on council, all good people. But it don't mean that they absolutely right all the time. Hello, where we do that at? Where we do that? What kind of friend is that that's going to tell you what you need to hear and not tell you what you want to hear and not tell you what you need to hear? I wouldn't be a good friend to my city if I lied to you. I'm keeping it real with you because I care. Simple as that. Hey, Brittany, she writes, morning choppas, use that $250K toward the betterment of the community instead. Good morning to you, Brittany. Hey, listen, if you haven't already done so, go to wherever you listen to podcasts this morning and subscribe to the Melanin Insights podcast. It's a brand new podcast. It's an audio podcast and a video podcast. The audio is up right now. You can check it out of the previous episodes. And if you want to check out the video, you can go over to CDM. And they have a Facebook page up as well called Melanin Insights. And check it out. Follow them. Robert writes, wait a minute. The money being used is for art projects all around the city, but for some reason, it's the Black project that some Black people want to bash. Well, I mean, point in fact, I'm not really. I guess to answer your question, I'm trying to answer the questions directly. I don't want to skirt any questions. So yes, the money being used for art projects all around the city, that is my general impression. But for some reason, it's the Black project that some Black people want to bash. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, it's the Black project that I want to bash. You're right about that, Robert. Absolutely. 100%. Pat writes, good morning. Maurice writes, they are trying to make Cincinnati rainbow white, not rainbow bright. Fame writes, what would $250K do for a community 2 years on an after school program? $250K would give you at least 2 to 3 to maybe even 4 years in an after school program. Now, how do I know this? How can I say this with so much confidence? That's because I was an after school program director in this city for 5 years. My budget was, on a yearly basis, it was a grant that decreased. So the way it worked was it started with a certain amount, let's say $200,000. And then every year or every couple of years after that, it would decrease by $50,000. The idea was that the organizations that were in charge of the grant, managing the grant, that over that 5-year period, that those individuals would go out into the community and find community partnerships that would basically, cover the gaps. So for instance, first 2 years of the grant I worked on was $200,000. And if I remember correctly, I think I saw maybe 150, 175,000. I think some of it got caught up in other administrative costs or whatever else. And so we were able to do a year-long after-school program with about 150, $175,000. And that includes staff. So that's why I'm telling you with some confidence, with 250K, I could do a program, a really good program for 2 years. I could do a decent program for 2 years, depending on how many students are there. And if you want to stretch it out, you could do 3 years. So yeah, I mean, it can go a long way. It can go a long way. And you could touch 200-300 kids, you know what I'm saying, in a school year, in the after school and before program. They will be partying in cicada hell. Oh, that's right. The cicadas are coming. I love art. It doesn't put food on my table or cut my property taxes. Not being an artist, it doesn't create a job for me either. Mhm. I mean, do I think that the arts should be supported? Yes, I do. Um, Quite honestly, I mean, I don't know all the details, but if we're going to support local and by local Black artists, then I think the project could be much bigger than just repainting the same thing over and over again for the rest of our lives. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna do this for the rest of our lives in Cincinnati every single year, every 2 years. Who defaced a mural? It's Warren now. Who do we have the money? We're gonna really do this every 2 years. This is what we're gonna do? It appears so. It appears so. Danita writes, it may suck, but many times when you receive a budget, aren't there times when certain percentages have to be spent on certain things? For instance, is there a percentage that has to be spent on certain budget lines? I don't believe that's what this is. With this COVID money, Danita, it's up to city leadership to decide how. I mean, I think there's some guidelines, but within that, it's up to city leadership to decide how that money is spent. That's the reason when you got all these members of city council coming up with their own plans, which I'm going to read to you here in a little bit. Yeah, some people want to, they want to increase the number of police officers, which I'm on the fence about that. I mean, I'm on the fence leaning toward no on that, but we got enough officers. I know we got some leaving officers, losing office because of retirement, but I want to say this again. I have yet to see any statistical correlation between having more officers and a decrease in crime. That's another lie that we need to get to the bottom of this morning. Stop letting these people in the city lie to you and tell you that because we got 1,000 or 1,100 or 1,200 police officers, that's going to make you safe. It is a lie. It's a straight up lie. We got more officers now than we've ever had in the past, nearly. Might be off a little bit there, right? But generally speaking. And yet people's perception of crime is the same, if not higher. So there is no connection whatsoever between having a whole lot of police and a decrease in crime. One has nothing to do with the other, period. But you get these politicians that keep want to play in these games and proposing we spend money for this and the other, and they're telling you it's going to make you safer. It's not going to make you safer. What's going to make you safer is long-term programs that are created and dispensed with intentionality long-term to address the root issues of the crime. We want to dance around in circles and we're not going to be able to lock people up and work our way out of this thing with crime. That's not going to happen. Because if it was possible, it would have already happened. So that's the other thing, man. I'm sick of city council members offering the same boring, tired, tried, and it don't work plans. And then people want to say good answer. It's not a good answer. You don't need to be on city council to come up with the idea of spending money for a new recruitment class. My daughter's 15. She could come up with that idea. You don't get no props for coming up with a stale, boring, busted ass idea that nobody thinks works. You don't get props for that, except in Cincinnati. In Cincinnati, you can roll out the same tired ass idea And people will keep on clapping for it like, oh, yeah. And that's the reason why we can't get out of our way to move this city forward. It's part of the problem. Just get the fuck out the way and let the people with the real ideas and the heart to really make it happen, make it happen. Charles writes, why don't they put it on the side of a building like they do with the artwork on Blink? I don't know why. The reason why is because I'm sure that the people involved, they wanted it on the ground. You know, we had this conversation last year. I feel the same way. Nothing has changed. I haven't seen anything that would make me change my opinion whatsoever. And to all the people out there that are like, oh, Nate, you don't care. I'm going to say the same thing to you today that I said to you a year ago when we talked about this. It's last summer, so a little less than a year. Last summer, I told you that as Black people, we were in the exact same spot the day after they finished the mural as we were the day before they started the mural. And here we are 7-8 months removed, and Black people are in the same spot. In the same spot, nothing's changed. Quit acting like that mural is changing something, because it's not. It's burning me up. I took my granddaughter down there and she loved it. I heard that from a lot of people. I took my grandson down there, they loved it. I think it's cool too. And what's your point? What's the point? Exactly. There's no point. Oh, man. Robert writes, all of that ish funded Black people are bashing Black projects. They act as if you can't talk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Shaking my head. Niwas. Let me see. All of that shit funded Black people are bashing Black projects. I mean, if that's how you want to look at it, Robert, I mean, yeah. Like I told you, yeah, I'm bashing Black projects. If that's what you want to call it, yeah, I'm doing it. Yep, I sure am. That's what you want to call it. They act as if you can't talk and chew bubblegum at the same time. Well, I'll tell you one thing is you can't spend the same $250,000 twice. So if $250,000 is going to be allocated for the Black Lives Matter mural, that's $250,000 that could have been allocated to something that was more substantive. So why you can't walk, you can walk and chew gum at the same time, but you can't spend the same money twice, Robert. And that's part of the problem, bro. You know what I'm saying? You can't get back that effort. You can't get that back. Maurice writes, Nate, you know I like Cincinnati is racist. I keep hearing that. Robert writes, here comes Herman Cain 2.0. Sister Iris writes, good morning, great people. Anthony writes, just another example of the bones they throw at us instead of our slice of the pie. Right. Feels like that. Feels like that. Carmelita writes, it's pointless. I always said it was pointless. It is pointless, sis. Now, what would I like to see? That's a good question, because I can't get what I want at this point, but taking what you can get at this point, what would be a plausible, what would be a good solution out of this? Like, to me, a good solution out of this would be, since they've done it, would be one or two things. And maybe that's what the $250,000 is going to do. I never liked it, and I still don't like the idea of the Black Lives Matter mural being on the ground. I feel like I don't like it, but I get it. That's what everybody was doing around the country. And then you get the drone shots looking down, the drone flies over it. You can take a photograph or a video looking down. It looks real pretty. People love it. People love pretty things. I'm not even sure at this point what the right direction is to go. I mean, because I feel bad for the artists and the people involved, because they put all this energy into it, and you go down and you look at it and it looks like trash. It looks absolutely horrible, not because of the artist, but just because of friction and wear and tear and things like that. So is there a $250,000 solution that would make it permanent on the ground? Maybe there is. I mean, since we've gotten this far, maybe that's the only way to go. Maybe people are like, hey, Nate, that's what the $250,000 is for. What I would say is this. If the city decided to completely wash it away, black people will be in the same position he was beforehand. I mean, nothing's really going to change in your life. It's not going to put my money in your pocket unless you're one of the artists and you're getting compensated, which I think they should get compensated. But I'm more interested in what you think. Maurice writes, so where are these so-called leaders? Where are these so-called leaders? Lemmy writes, good morning. Good morning to you. Tracy writes, they have lots of art on buildings. I don't see them putting it on the ground for real. Right. That's the point we tried to make last year. I don't see nothing. I see lots of arts in Cincinnati. I don't see nothing on the ground. But again, the reason why it's on the ground is probably because, the folks involved wanted it on the ground because that's what they was doing in D.C. and that's what they was doing in other states. That's, people in Cincinnati don't really have a lot of ideas in some cases. So what we do, and again, everybody does this, is they look at what they do in the other cities and they poach the idea and they bring it here. Politicians do it, activists do it, artists do it, people do that. I get it. I'm not saying I'm above it. I'm just saying that's the rationale behind it. But just because they do some dumb shit in DC doesn't mean we got to create the same mistake in Cincinnati. We can think for ourselves, can't we? Let's go to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivy. This is your West Side Connection. Your only black, not Democrat, Drop Squad 52. Checking in from the left coast. What's up, sir?
How you doing, man? Welcome.
I'm doing good, Mr. Ivy. I'm listening to your show and your disgust with the murals on the ground, and I'm having flashbacks. It reminds me when I did the meme for you back in the day, Mr. Ivy. The problem again, like I told you, when that money comes from Washington, D.C., because about 10 years ago, they got rid of the earmark. You know what an earmark is, right?
I believe so. I believe I understand what it is.
Right. They got rid of it because of what happened in Barack Obama's stimulus package, the American Recovery Act. You remember the shovel-ready jobs? You remember? Don't you remember all that?
Yeah. Barack
Obama
deserves a medal for what he did for this country, man. He pulled us from.
Yeah, he did a good job. Oh, he did, Mr. Ivy. I mean, after the fact, when you look back economically, he did a good job only because he did not have the majority in Congress. That was the only reason he was stopped from doing some of the things that the Democrats are trying to do now.
Huh?
Mr. Ivy, did you know last week that they voted to bring back earmarks?
No.
Did you know that?
No, I did know that.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're going to trust but verify everything I'm saying, that they're bringing back earmarks because the Biden administration, their next big spending thing is estimated to be about $3 trillion on infrastructure. So because of what you're talking about today, how people in certain cities that are run by mostly Democrats, where they have a large black population like Cincinnati, but it's a red state. They knew that a lot of this money that was coming from the American Rescue Plan that Joe Biden signed last week or a couple weeks ago, they knew this was going to happen because they couldn't earmark the money to go to certain places, except for the obvious stuff that was in the COVID plan. But Mr. Ivy, I just wanted to throw that out there, that earmarks are coming back. And that's all I'm going to say, because I know I'm triggering somebody, because I'm looking in the chop shop, in the YouTube chat right now. Robert Williams, drop is lying. So if he's saying I'm lying, at least his dumb ass is listening. Now, that's not personal, Robert.
Whoa.
That's just an observation, because I don't know you.
Whoa. So
look up earmarks and find out why earmarks are coming back and why Republicans are agreeing with it. Because, Mr. Ivy, ain't nobody in Washington caring about spending no more. We spent already $6 trillion. Joe Biden's talking about doing an additional $3 trillion. So it's obvious Republicans and Democrats, they don't care about spending no more. So the money's going to get spent. The money is going to come to these blue states, to these red states, to these blue cities, and to these red cities. And it's going to be many more discussions like this that we're having right now on the Nathan Ivey Show about where should that money go? Should it go to black people? Should it go to this thing? Should it go to law enforcement? Should it go to education? So it's a beautiful thing when that money comes from Washington to go to the people who need it. But the problem, like it's always been, is these dirty, corrupt ass politicians. Jeff Pastor, Tamaya Denard, PG Sittenfeld. That's a little local flavor. And that's all I got, sir. So don't waste any time today. 1 p.m., tune in for the President of the United States. He will hold his first solo press conference. Get your popcorn, push play, record, because I guarantee you it's going to be funny as hell. That's all I got. Drop Squad 52. Dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Peace.
Let's drop checking in. That man. That's all I can say. What did he say about Obama? I can't even make sense out of it. Good morning to you. Iris writes, the white organizations are getting $7 million. That's what I saw, sis. That's what I saw. They getting $7 million, and then the black artist is getting $250,000 specifically for the Black Lives Matter mural. That don't seem like equity. But then these Cincinnati arts organizations, like whoever, they're not necessarily white or black. They're just for the arts on the surface, right? You know, anybody can be involved with it. It's not for any particular race or whatever. So is it fair to look at it and break it down? I don't know. You tell me. Anthony writes, why can't we have a plaza like that with black-owned businesses surrounding it? That would be something that's tangible. Okay. All right. Yeah. Oh, it's big money out here. Big money. The smart place to put it would have been at Freedom Center. We're inside the Dora, and they could have named that area the Black Lives Matter Plaza. Well, then you got to get the Freedom Center people involved. The reason why they want to put out outside of city council, and I understand, is because that's where the policy is made. And so, as I understand it, it's like sending a message to council, like, "Hey, get this done. You made it. Now live up to it." But Cincinnati wasn't ready to live up to that. Not as a whole. I mean, there's a lot of good people in this city that care, black and white. There's a lot of good people that care. But we got too many people that don't. Do I have the entire proposed budget? I believe so, sis. Thank you. I believe so. $7 million for a bike lane. I like the bike lanes. I think that we get something out of that. Bates writes, will the mural be used in 2022 Blink? If the light show is going to be good enough, then it might be worth $250,000. If not, then I agree. Spend that money to make change. Anthony writes, wifey putting you on notice, Nate. Step your game up, bro. Maurice writes, Larry Holmes, you crazy for that? Oh, I'm just having some fun. You know, that's how it is when you get a married couple that's been married for a while and one person starts working out, then the other one's like, wait a minute. They getting all sexy out here. I got to get my sexy on, right? It's just a motivation thing. It's funny, man, because you grow closer to people. So, I've always been into working out on various levels. Sometimes you can tell, sometimes you can't, but I don't know, maybe about 5. My son is 6, so it was before my son was born. I say about 6, 7 years ago. The wifey got in super great shape. She was running right here, walking around here like she was in the 300. Talking about some, good morning. Now, of course, her voice didn't get deep, but her body started to change. And then when you're married to somebody, it's like, wait a minute. I can't let them get all, wait, no. You ain't leaving me behind. So it becomes like a friendly competition thing. Only friendly, though. It's all about pushing each other to be their very best. So, for instance, I got people around me, friends that's doing all amazing things. I wish everybody the best, man. I really do. And while I'm doing that, I also look at what I see, creative people doing. I'm thinking, oh, that's a great idea. And I think that's just where it's supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? I think we're supposed to support and help people. And at the same time, that's the great thing about being a creative is that when somebody puts something out there, then it starts to spark the next wave of creatives who's watching them. And so it's the same way with any friendly relationship. Same thing in the marriage. You want the best for your wifey. You want the best for your hubby. I want her to be her absolute best. You know what I'm saying? So if it makes her happy, it makes me happy. That kind of thing, right? Sister Iris writes, more money for police equipment. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, Iris. I want to hear what you think about what they're doing with this money. Not necessarily Black Lives Matter, but if you want to chime in on that's on you. But I'm just curious, what you think about what you've read about the allocation of some of the money, because above a lot of folks, I know that you have your eye on what's happening here in this city. Nakia writes, LOL, wife is getting it right, Nate. Yeah, she's trying to leave me behind, but she can't though. I've been doing this ever since. You already know what happened with my cardiac situation. So this is lifetime for me. Sometimes I'm at my peak, sometimes I'm in a little bit of a valley, but every day it is what it is. I have to do this. Rob writes 100% right on that. Hey, what's up, Rob? Good to see you. Disruption Now podcast. Check him out. He just had Roland Martin was on his show most recently. Yeah, Rob talked with Roland Martin. Excellent conversation. Check him out. Sometimes he's on the Roland Martin show if you watch that show. I do. I think Roland's a pioneer. I can't say enough about what he's doing. Robert writes, nobody has a full budget agreement. People aren't just talking ish, but for whatever reason, only the black artists being bashed by black people. Judas and the Black Lives Matter mural artist. Hashtag William O'Neill 2.0. That is funny. Judas and the Black Lives Matter mural artist. You are funny for that, Robert. That cracks me up, man. Judas and the Black Lives Matter mural artist. That is funny, man. Hilarious. Hilarious. You are funny with that one, man. Brian writes, no Black Lives, no BLM mural, period. Stop racism mural? Stop police brutality mural? End white supremacy mural? Okay, maybe. Black Lives Matter is being exposed as grifters, which I've been saying for half a decade. The phrase is now corrupted. Now, let's be real here. Brian is talking realness on two levels. Number one, you might be new to the conversation, but he has been on this show saying this since last year. He has been saying it. I've said it before. I know firsthand that Brian gets out on these streets and puts it all on the line for the community. I've seen it firsthand. Okay. And we do know that on a national level, there's a conversation even right now about the connection to and the support being offered by Black Lives Matter to some of the family members of people that have been killed by police officers and therefore become martyrs in the Black Lives Matter movement, right? All this is facts. All this is facts. I made this point last year that you got people that's working on the Black Lives Matter mural that have never even been a part of Black Lives Matter as the organization. My question is, do we even have a Black Lives Matter chapter in Cincinnati? As I sit here right now, the answer to that is no for me. Now, could be my ignorance. I'm not telling you I know everything in the city because I do not. Okay. But as I understand it, to my recollection and knowledge, we do not currently have a Black Lives Matter chapter that's actually doing Black Lives Matter work in the city. That's my understanding. Now, if there's a Black Lives Matter chapter that's active and I'm just ignorant, I apologize in advance. But to my knowledge, we don't even have one we got one without the other. It makes no sense. And last year I made the point similar to Brian's, like, wait a minute, that Black Lives Matter phrase, there's a lot of phrases that we could use. Why are you using Black Lives Matter? It could be Black Policy Matters. It could be the Black Agenda Matters. Right? Okay, now we're working. But, Black Lives Matter is like this national organization that people have a vague idea of. Like, I love the phrase Black Lives Matter. I'm Black man. I love that phrase. Who don't love it? But in terms of what they're doing in practical, application, I mean, obviously there's a lot of people that's giving opinions about it. Lannis writes, good morning, brother Nathan Ivy. Good morning to you. Dale writes, Nathan is bothered today, cussing up the storm. My apologies. I'm human. I'm tragically human. My apologies. Didn't it cost $250K the first time to do it? Making an Artsworks project, how much are those murals worth? Did it cost $250K the first time? Let me double check. I'm sure I can get the information. I thought it was less than that. No, it was less than that. I mean, maybe they can find like a permanent solution, right? Where the artists don't have to come back down. I think that's disrespectful to have these artists come back down and retouch it. To me, that's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. Robert writes, OMG, they spend $250K on a mural and Negroes are acting like that's all they give into black people. Expand your thinking, Nakers. Okay. So Robert, you seem to be the expert since you stepping up. My question to you is, tell us, enlighten us. What are they giving to black folks in the city of Cincinnati? And regardless, what I will add is, Robert, regardless of what they're adding or what they're giving to black folks, I think it's completely legitimate for taxpayers, black and white. But we're talking about the Black Lives Matter mural. This audience is largely black, so we're talking to black folks this morning. I think it's completely legitimate for black taxpayers, because I'm a taxpayer, to share their voice about how their money is being spent, how money that's being spent in your name. You got every right to speak your voice about that. Don't mean it's going to change anything per se, but you got every right to speak your voice in that. So I hear you, brother. I appreciate the viewpoint. Brian Rice, spend $250,000 to make a mural for loved ones lost to police killings. Ooh, see, that's too sensitive. Iris writes, $5 million for the housing trust fund. Nakia writes, Blink is so awesome. Yeah, it is. It was nice. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It's a lot of walking though. It's like, damn, I gotta walk. I think next time I'm gonna give me a little bike. This bike from exhibit to exhibit. But if you didn't go to it, you missed out. It's a lot of fun. Is it worth $1 million as we come out of a pandemic? Well, think about it. The city wants people, once we emerge from COVID, if that actually happens, to go out and spend money and go out and buy stuff and go enjoy yourself. So for them, Blink is a part of that overall strategy. Irish writes, Blink is getting money. Tiff writes, Blink is a great concept. I can't wait till next year for its return. Robert writes, actually, Blink is pretty cool. Fun night out. All those things might be true. But does Blink deserve the money it's getting right here, right now? Like, we all can agree that we like Blink. Does that mean that we can just spend this millions of dollars right now? Right here, right now on it? I don't know. Now you tell me. Let's get to the bottom of it. Mrs. Love Being Black writes, good morning, fellow beautiful smart choppers. Good morning to you. Lemmy writes, Blink in spring or fall would be good. Well, not this year, everybody, but next year they'll be back. And I mean, since so many people like Blink, man, maybe we can do something special with the show on Blink. That might be dope. Fame writes, I will not get vaccinated. My body, my choice. You do have those choices. Go right ahead, brother. 3CDC is buying up everything. Yes, they are. Celeste writes, Betsy will not get reelected. Celeste, I hope you're right. And again, I always keep that door open for change, because I'm saying that right now. Bessie Sunderman might do something. She might start proposing ideas, and I'm like, oh, okay. All right, now she's talking. As of right, if I had to vote today, there's no way in hell I would ever vote for Bessie Sunderman. I don't like what I'm seeing. I do not like what I'm seeing whatsoever. Seems to me like it's some more of that dumb-ish. And we cannot get forward on dumb-ish. Okay? In the BS. Tamika writes, we don't need a mural that says Black Lives Matter. We need policies and procedures in place that prove Black Lives Matter. Ooh. Nobody move. Because Tamika just dropped the mic. She's 100% right on that. And that's been my point from day one. It's the very essence of symbolism. Like, if you want to show black people, memo to city council, if you really want to show black people that you care about them, then put it in place every single day. I'm not impressed, not even a little bit, by any politician that voted for a Black Lives Matter mural on city council. I don't care. It means nothing to me. I don't think any differently about you. It's not going to change my opinion about you. In fact, because y'all didn't make sure you had the infrastructure, I'm actually pissed at all the members of city council that voted for this. And I want to say this again, because you set these black artists up for failure. You set it up so we be talking about this issue a year later. Instead of setting it up with the infrastructure from day one to make sure that the project could be protected from day one. They didn't do that. They didn't do that. They got caught up in their feelings. We want to do something post George Floyd. They ran with the idea. They didn't even check with the city manager. Remember what the city manager said? The city manager came out like 3-4 weeks after the mural and said, we ain't got no money. We don't have no money. We don't have a plan. And as of right now, ain't nothing happening. That's what he said about the Black Lives Matter mural. So why would I give members of city council props? Because they voted on a half-ass idea. I say shame on every last one of them that voted for it. Shame on you. They should be spending, since y'all voted for it, y'all should be spending all the time y'all have to make sure y'all make it right for the people involved. That's what would be right. But like so many smart people said, this is what placating looks like. Somebody said that Cincinnati should do a master class on how to placate its black community. You're right. You're right about that. That's hilarious. Funny stuff, Tamika. Great point. Go ahead, Racker. Charles writes, don't mind my modest flow. They will maintain the status quo. $290 million, not a dime will hit a project door. Us blacks will get nothing tangible, just murals put on the floor. What? Somebody, you dropping flows? Yeah, okay. Brother from the night? Is that what it is? Love Jones? Okay. Let's see what's next. Trying to be the blues and you're right. Right? To all my Love Jones fans out there. Nakia writes, girl power, LOL. Don't do that, Nakia. Girl power. And Melanie Bates is 70 years old. Talking about some girl power? You mean lady power? You don't know what you're talking about. It's an inside joke. It was right after that whole thing happened with Melanie Bates. I guess she was looking for support in all the wrong places. And she hooked up, did it like a little ussy. It's called a ussy when it's more than one person. It's called an ussy, not a selfie. Get it right, people. So she did a ussy with Bessie Sunderman. Bessie Sunderman posted this on Twitter talking about some girl power. We're going to get it done. Open up the schools. And then you had a member of not council, but you had a member of the school board that retweeted on their post. It was Mike Morosky saying, stop saying that the schools are not open. The schools are open, right? You can't make this up. Is Melanie Bates still on the school board? Telling you that it just goes to show you that some people have no shame, they have no integrity, and they have really no honor. You know what I'm saying? The honorable thing to do for Melanie Bates would have been to step down. That would have shown more integrity than she's shown, at least when she was talking about Walnut Hills parents and grandparents and students and things like that. But in Cincinnati, especially if you're white, you can do that. You can do that in Cincinnati and get away with it. And I'm going to follow up with that on that, because it was school board member Ben Lindy who asked the question about, is there a procedure in place to either remove or to censor a member of the school board that does what Melanie Bates did? Allegedly, right? But she, since you brought her up, she ain't got no integrity. I mean, she might be watching now. Members of the school board member, they can think what they want to think. This is my personal opinion. You know what I'm saying? My personal opinion, it shows a lack of class and a lack of dignity for her to walk into that chamber every single meeting and sit down like she care about us, and we already know how she really feels. And for anybody saying, well, we all get frustrated, that's not the question. The question is not whether you get frustrated. The question is what comes out of your mouth. But in Cincinnati, especially if you're white, you can do that. You can do that. You can say whatever you want to say, and you're going to find some people that want to make you into a warrior princess, like Jason Williams with the Inquirer, talking about she's anti-union. Get the hell out of here, Jason Williams. Now, don't get me wrong. I like Jason Williams. I don't want Jason Williams to leave because for me as a member of the media, he gives me something to talk about. I love it. Gives us something to think about. You know, he's got a completely different viewpoint than I do on most things, but that's a good thing in any locale in terms of media. If everybody said the same thing and had the same politics, it'd be boring as hell. So don't get me wrong. You know what I'm saying? I'm a member of the media. I understand what we do and how we do it. It is what it is. Brent writes superficial like the owner of the Cowboys, Jerry Jones, kneeling with his players before the national anthem was played. Right. Maurice writes, a friend to me is someone I would die for. I mean, that's your point. I'm not sure I share that same definition, but I'm just saying, you know, I just take that word friend, love, care, all that shit. I don't just throw that around. You know, if I say that, I mean it, period. And I don't just mean it in lip service, like, and I'm not a fair weather fan either. Like, you know, people make mistakes and have problems, whatever. As long as you ain't out here doing nothing wrong to children and raping people and all that kind of doing something illegal, we cool. Let me see. Operating budget will get $113,000. I'm sorry, $113 million over 2 years. Maurice writes, morning choppas. She is a vote chaser. What has she done since being appointed to council? Not a damn thing. Don't be bamboozled. You talking about Bessie Sunderman? Oh no, she ain't did nothing. Not in my opinion. Now she's teamed up with Sister Kearney. They seem to be working together on a lot of good things, and I guess that's a good thing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm be honest with you, a part of me feels like, you know, and this is just me being selfish. I'm not saying this is in any way what Sister Kearney should be doing because she know what she's doing. She don't need me to tell her nothing. But every time I see them working on something together, I just kind of feel like Bessie Sunderman is trying to cozy up with her so she can get reelected. So the people that support Sister Kearney will think that Bessie Sunderman's okay. And that bothers me, to be honest with you. It's just my personal viewpoint. I ain't saying that sister's done anything wrong because she has not. She's doing what she should be doing. When you're on council, you should be working with everybody. Democrat, Republican, Independent, Gilligan, smart person, smart dumb cat. They're on city council. You should be working with them. I get it. I'm just telling you from my own personal, tragically flawed human lens, that's how I feel about it. I'm just saying. Not quite sure what diatribe was about. The alt middle always got love for the talk show host. Okay. I mean, same here, bro. Same here. Nakia writes, yeah, right. It seems like that their intention was to drop the ball on the Black Lives Matter situation. They dropped the ball from the beginning, Nakia, because they didn't have a plan in place that would sustain the project, that would protect the project. I mean, they got a couple of business owners, maybe a residence or two that's right across the street. You just can't tell these people to move because you want to put a Black Lives Matter mural down there. That shit don't work. That shit don't work. You're going to have to either compensate them or the city's going to have to come up with some creative ways to make sure that the people that live and work down there still have access to their residence and or where they work at. You just can't do this and make that happen. That's not how that works. Iris writes, the Port Authority will get $5 million for their affordable housing project. Danita writes, it is always great for citizens to be aware of spending, but we have to make sure that we understand the budgeting process. In the budgets that I have worked for with public funds, more times than not, there are percentage constraints on how the budget's set up. When we do that, it actually makes you look foolish and that you don't have a true understanding. Yeah, I'm not really sure that's at play here, though. I mean, I've worked with public contracts and grants myself, so you're right. I get that. This is different. This is different. Stuff pertaining to us is always done half-assed. That's one way of looking at it. I think that bothers me too about the Black Lives Matter. It's like it was half-assed put together. And so here we are a year later, still trying to figure it all out. But a year ago, man, last summer, remember people was dancing in the streets. Come Juneteenth, it was dancing and stepping. I'm like, what? I did a whole couple of shows about it. It was a whole thing. It was fun. Robert writes, wait a minute. Are people saying that 250,000 is all the black community is getting? If not, it just sounds like haters looking to hate. Um, okay, you say so. Samantha writes, good morning, all. Iris writes, pool extension season for CHRC, $400,000 over 2 years. You talking about the rec centers, man. I'm like, we got all these rec centers around the city. Some of them are open, some of them are not. I've heard horror stories about, what they can actually offer. And my thing is, like, I believe in the rec centers. I believe in them. I think they can have a positive impact and be a positive outlet for a lot of people. Are they properly funded? Are they funded at the levels that we need them to be so that the rec centers can do what we think that they should be doing in our communities? You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the swim pools. I'm talking about the after school programs. I'm talking about all of that. You know what I'm saying? This city would be a great place if every rec center was fully funded and every rec center in the city of Cincinnati had fully funded after school programs that could actually do things with kids and not just warehouse them and let them play while you watch them, but could actually run programs that with intentionality. That'd be a great thing. That'd be a great thing. I'm with that. Maurice writes, I was maced during the Black Lives Matter march by this racist, crooked cop. Stop hiring Klansmen. Use some of that money for that. Damn. Rec Center extended summer hours will get 650. That sounds like 650 million over 2 years. I'm not sure if that's correct. CVB support 1 million over 2 years. Robert writes, damn, Herman Cain in the house. Who knew? Self-hate is real in the chop shop. Who you talking about, Robert? Iris writes, social services operational grant 1 million over 2 years. Public museum support 1 million over 2 years. Artworks youth employment program initiative will get 1 million over 2 years. Robert writes, why are people acting like this is the first and last proposal for the 290 million cent? Wait, what am I missing? We act like this is it. Shaking my head. Well, this is it as to this point, though, Robert, unless you got some other ideas. Art is truly not a passion of mine, but technology is, and ICE in the city should invest more money into technology. Robert writes, drop is lying again. Anthony writes, I still say a plaza with a mural and support for black businesses around it would be more beneficial for us. Let whites have their outdoor drink space. Give us a space and support our black-owned businesses. Irish writes, where is the black people's plan for these stimulus funds? That's a good question. That's an excellent question, sis. Do we have a plan? Do the Gray City leaders have a plan? Or is this going to come from the community, a grassroots plan? Cleopatra writes, Grand Risings, Nathan I be in the choppas. Good morning to you. Huh? What the hell? Brent, so how does Trump and Alt Middle feel about Sidney Powell calling them stupid for believing the lies she was telling about historic voter fraud? Yeah, Sidney Powell told the truth. So Sidney Powell is a white female lawyer. She represented Donald Trump right after the election. You remember she was doing a lot of press. And basically she was echoing a lot of the lies that he was telling about the election. You remember what the lies are, right? That somehow the Democrats were in cahoots with the mail postage carrier workers and that these mail-in ballots were basically being used to steal the election from Donald Trump and that there were mass voter fraud. Now, there were like 60 plus court lawsuits in the courts, all of them thrown out except for one. And even in that case, they found some minor issues, but nothing that rose to the level of having the ability to steal an election, right? Nothing rose to that level. And Sidney Powell was out here on television doing press conferences, lying to people, straight up lying to people, and telling people all these lies. Well, she got sued by the folks that manufacture the business behind Dominion. Dominion is the name of the company that provides ballot boxes around the country. Okay. And so now Sidney Powell, when she's faced with this lawsuit, her lawyers argued that she can't be found guilty because it was obvious that she was lying. No reasonable person would take what she said seriously. Wait a minute. So 6 months ago, you're telling us that what you said was the truth, that the election was stolen. Now, when you facing a lawsuit, you're telling us that you were lying back then and that we should have known that you were lying because it was obvious. And guess what, Sidney? You're right. It was obvious to at least half of the country. The other half of the country believed it so much that a few hundred or maybe 1,000 folks decided they were going to steal their country back. Hilarious. Nat writes, as a SCPA grad, I'm all for the arts, but poverty and homelessness should be the priority for tax dollars. Lobby the CEOs of Cincy for philanthropic art projects. Let me see. Iris writes, City Link expansion, 250,000. JD writes, okay. Nakia writes, that's why I say things like we're scared to step on the technology train because it's moving forward. Sister Iris writes, restaurant grant phase 2 will get $4 million 1 year. What's this? Restaurant grant phase 2. So maybe that sounds like money for local restaurants, which I think is a good thing, man. Keep these businesses afloat. Why is that the fault of the mural? Whoever said the mural was the end of racism? Once again, why are black people bashing black artists? I haven't heard anybody bash any black artists, Robert. I mean, quite honestly, there's people like myself. Let me speak for myself. So for me, I thought it was a waste of fucking time, straight up with you. I mean, let me just be frank with you. You paint murals before you get equity policy intangibles. I thought it was a waste of time. And I thought ultimately it was an exercise in placating and pacifying black people. And I thought it was an exercise by city council members to make it seem like they really care. So that's what the issue is. The issue is, how do we spend our time, money, and energy, and what should be the focus? Simple as that. And I haven't heard anybody bashing black artists. Haven't heard that. That's new to me. But see, that's what passes as a rebuttal to this conversation. Like when I hear people say, why you bashing? I'm going to be honest with you, Robert. Again, I'm going to give you some heat, brother, but it ain't personal. When I hear people say that, it makes me think two things. Number one, they're not really hearing what's being said. And number two, it don't really matter what's said. You've arrived at your opinion and that's what you're going to stick at. That's what it sounds like to me. Because I haven't heard anybody bashing black artists this morning. I certainly haven't. And if that's how you want to take it, then so be it. But I don't hear it. El Grillo writes, I agree totally. Good morning to you. Robert writes, who said you can't spend $250K out of $290 million on other things? Wake up, black people. You sound very uneducated about budget proposals and how the process works. Well, okay, let's sit with that, Robert. Since you want to play this role on the show this morning, I'm going to let you do that. So let's think about that. I mean, I don't think it's a lack of education about the budget proposals. I don't think it's that. I think it's a lack of understanding of how this really matters to the plight of black people in the city of Cincinnati. So my challenge for you, Robert, is you've been asking a lot of questions. Let's see if you can answer one or two. My question to you is, tell me why the Black Lives Matter mural matters. Why is it worth $250,000? Why is it worth any conversation or discussion whatsoever when we're facing so many issues in the city of Cincinnati? That's my question for you. Tell me why it's worth it. I'll wait. Sister Iris writes, where is the black people's plan? Brian writes, we need boots on the ground, not paint. Fund Black artists and a grant to make what they want to make as individual artists. There's so many smart people in the chop shop. Like, that's the real lack of education. See, part of the game in Cincinnati that too many people, black people get caught up with is they believe whatever they've been told. You're allowing people to lead you around by your nose. Just because somebody tells you that it matters, don't mean that it really matters. Because my question is to you is, how does it matter then? You know, to anybody, you might even be artists who worked on it. And I know that the artists who work on it, they don't really like me when I talk about this kind of stuff. They love it when I'm talking about the school board or white supremacy or something like that. And I am. It's just in a different form. But when I talk about this particular issue, I already know there's a lot of black artists who just tune me out. They don't want to hear it. Oh, you just hating on black people. Okay. All right. Think what you want to think. But again, I agree with Brian. He says we need boots on the ground, not paint on the ground. I agree 100%. Quit acting like the only way that you can support black artists is through just this project. Brian is right. If you really care about black artists, then you will support their ideas, whatever they may be. But this idea that this is the only way that you can support black artists, and I've heard this come up a bit, I ain't falling for that. That's the banana in the tailpipe. You can't tell me that lie. That's not the only way to support black artists in the city of Cincinnati. And I'm not even sure that is supporting black artists in the city of Cincinnati. I know people want to say that, but I don't really think that's necessarily true. It sounds good. It's like the only thing that you can argue in favor of it. Because like what I found is when I ask people like, why does this matter? There's no argument as to why it matters. So what they start to do is to start talking about black artists. Well, what about black artists? Don't you support black artists? Because they can't really answer the question as to why this matters to us. But what about black artists? They'll say, well, black artists, black artists. That's the only thing they have to hang their argument on. Because there is no argument that a mural, fading paint. We're talking about fading paint. That's outside of a building that most people never even go to in this city. Is somehow moving the needle for black folks in this city. Nobody can argue that successfully. I've heard no arguments that make any sense whatsoever. So what they do is they talk about black artists. Oh, black artists. Do you think we stupid? I'm not dumb. I know what you're doing. Oh, black artists, black artists, black artists, black artists, black artists, because the black mural don't mean shit. So you want to try to make it about black artists. Stop it. Stop playing with smart, intelligent black folks. We ain't going for that. Please stop. Oh, you don't care about black artists? Stop. Stop. Because it ain't working. It ain't working with me. CCAC will get $500,000 over 2 years. Anthony writes, think we all love this city, but recognize that it has so much more potential than we're showing. We just have the wrong leadership in place to let the full potential be realized. I agree 100%. A CEAI will get $980,000 over 2 years. Is that right? Let me see here. Somebody writes, oh hell, there goes my day. Is that right? Blink's gonna get $1 million for the year in 2022. Obama did a good job with healthcare for us. I mean, considering what Obama was dealing with, the fact that he was able to get anything done legislatively is a miracle. Because he was dealing with an obstinate opposition party that it really didn't matter what ideas he came up with, they weren't going to support it. So when you're working in that kind of like situation, man, listen, it's a wonder he got anything done. Brent writes, symbolic gestures like removing the Confederate statue and flags and Black Lives Matter will give you a sugar rush, but ultimately only changing the laws and policies will bring in real change. Well, I'll be honest with you. I look at removing Confederate flags and statues differently than Black Lives Matter murals, Brent. I look at it differently. I can understand why you remove Confederate flags and Confederate statues because they are a symbol of America's racist past. They're a symbol of a pro-slavery mentality, and we shouldn't be supporting that. So I would put that in a different category than I would when we talk about the Black Lives Matter mural. But if you're saying in general it's symbolic, yeah, I look at it differently. I would just put the Confederate statues and flags in a different file. That's just me. That's just me. Sydney Drop Powell, what? Marisha writes, good morning, good to see you. Minority business partnerships will get $3 million. Now we talking. Roy writes, good morning, everyone. Anthony writes, Repubs want those earmarks. Dems figure they will give to something to get something. Fame writes, Brent, the alt middle doesn't answer questions we ask and prevent them. Please stop being petulant and accept that we are not interested in your putrid, petulant rhetoric. Thanks. What? Dale writes, just looked it up. Drop is taken out of context. We already know. Robert writes, don't let him hang up, Nate, without answering those questions. Why you write Drop Squad 52, Black and Gilligan? See, you wrong for that. Black and Gilligan. Black and Gilligan. That's hilarious. Minority Business Accelerator Ascend will get $5 million over 2 years. Okay, I like that. I like that. That's hilarious. Oh, man. Whoa, Britain. Okay, now we got a few. Now it's official. The Women's Business Accelerator, $3 million over 2 years. I like the way that sounds. I like the way a business accelerator sounds. Black Lives Matter mural will get $250K over 2 years. It's $125 a year. Jerica writes, hey, y'all. Interesting topics today, hopefully. Kevin's in the house. He writes, my daughter worked for Artworks last summer. Her work is on display in Madisonville at Artsville and Evanston and Cream and Sugar Coffee House. It's outside. Great program, teaches kids about finances as well as gives youth jobs. Sounds great to me. I love it. TNT writes, good morning. Anthony writes, iron sharpens iron. Sister Iris writes, Bethany House, additional projects, $1.3 million. I've heard conflicted things about Bethany House. I know someone who used to work there that, let's just say it wasn't a favorite. It wasn't a glowing recommendation that I heard afterward. Black Lives Matter is corrupted only by non-thinking people. Well, it depends on who you ask. Again, Brian Taylor is someone who puts in that work on the streets. He's a part of that life. That's what he do. So I tend to lean toward people who I see have the experience. You know what I'm saying? Toy writes, I'm tuning in late, but I rode through Roselawn and started thinking about how much revitalization needs to be done in Bond Hill and Roselawn. Those neighborhoods are where our generational wealth ends once those elders die and the properties sit abandoned. Let me give you a heads up on some things that are available to you this morning. Today's show is brought to you by the Focus 2021 series. You'll see me flashing it on the screen for you just to make sure you're aware. And they're doing something different, and they want you to be a part of it. They're offering you a free 142-page ebook that will give you some tips on how to deal with life's challenges and to live your best life primarily, and maybe do something different in the calendar year 2021. While you're doing that, you can also sign up for 30 minutes of coaching, free professional coaching with Charlie Winburn. And when you sign up and you download your free ebook, hit me with a direct message and tell me what you think. I'm very curious. Very curious. Good morning to you. Also coming up this Saturday, that's Saturday, March 27th from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m., I will be your moderator for the Get Engaged, Be the Change series. And it's sponsored by the good folks at Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Inc., the Beta Zeta Zeta chapter here in Cincinnati, Ohio. This is virtual, which means that you don't have to leave your home to attend. And it's going to be live on Facebook from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. Again, I'll be your moderator. I'll be joined by Desiree Futel, who's the VP of Voter Services for the League of Women Voters, Cincinnati area. Ashley Young, who's the VP of Policy and Strategic Initiatives at the Urban League of Greater Cincinnati, Ohio. Bill Woods, who's the founder and president of Applied Information Resources. And yours truly, Nathan Ivey. I'm the VP of Flow in the city of Cincinnati. I will be your moderator, and I'm looking forward to it. So we'll be talking about the 2021 election, what's at stake. And man, listen, there's so much to talk about. So hopefully it'll be very interactive. You are always welcome to leave comments and be a part of it. And I'm looking forward to hear, to pick the minds of these very smart, intelligent people that are going to be on the board. Or I should say going to be on the panel. So again, that's Saturday from 12 to 1 p.m. on Facebook. Don't miss it. Also coming up on the 30th, that's next Tuesday, the NAACP is going to be doing its first mayoral live town hall. They're kicking off their town hall series with the mayoral forum. As I understand it, all of the mayoral candidates, except for one, that one being Herman Najoli. Clearly, Herman Najoli is going to do his own thing. Clearly. He ran for Hamilton County Commissioner, did not win. And now he's got that bug. Now he wants to go for another executive position. He wants to be the mayor. But as I understand it, he turned down the invitation from the NAACP. And again, I'm saying this because if you know Herman, you should send a message to him and ask him to reconsider, because, this is an opportunity for him to get in front of voters. And as much as he got a lot of votes for Hamilton County Commissioner, that was a whole different thing. This is the city of Cincinnati for mayor. And, name recognition, getting your voice out there, getting your message out there means everything. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it. It starts at 6:30 p.m. It'll be streamed live on their Facebook page. We might even do a simul stream from CDM and their page as well. Okay, so that's coming up on Tuesday. All right, coming up on Tuesday. All right, make sure you're there. Make sure you're there. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Good morning, everybody. After 65 days in office, President Biden holds his first solo press conference today at 1 p.m. Will the lamestream media be fair and balanced? Sharp writes, what happened to lifting the children out of poverty? That old thing. CG Dub writes, good morning, everyone. Good morning to you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hold on, Ray has an idea here. Although I don't plan to get the vaccine, the COVID bus Alicia Reese is getting off the ground is a good idea. Let's not give the something minority women and the others too most of the money. Yeah, Alicia Reese is an innovator. Wherever she goes, she innovates. She innovates. I'm sure she's going to do a great job as a Hamilton County Commissioner. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Okay, none. Hey, what's up, Ronald? Good to see you. Good to see. Here's a brother that's leading a movement here that everybody should be paying attention to in the city of Cincinnati, the state of Ohio in particular, and that is raising awareness about. Oh, thanks for the share, Kevin. Yeah, please like and share today's show. The shares have been down a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Don't slack on me now, because I ain't going nowhere. I'm here for you every morning. I need you to lift up the show and just share it. Share it on your page. Share it in on Facebook pages and groups that you think might be a good fit for it. But yeah, this brother's doing big things out here, man, talking about childhood trauma, which I think is very, very under talked about in terms of what we see. We want to automatically assume the worst of people. And I don't think we really have a good handle on what the impact of childhood trauma is. But he writes, how about a clean food grocery store in Black dominated areas and nutritional food education programs for EBT recipients? Okay, there's a lot of ideas out here. Good to see you. Charlie Winburn writes, good morning. Let's start helping and put some of our city funds toward our children and youth to overcome adverse and negative childhood experiences so they can succeed in life. Wow. It's like you and Ron, although he's not talking about that, but great minds think alike. Let's go back to the phones. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, dear brother.
Hey, Sister Irish, you still there?
I am.
Okay. Sounds like
Is that better?
Yeah, it would sound like you was going in and out, but I do hear you. Good morning.
All right. Good morning. I wanted to respond to your question and let the choppers know that the reason I was posting, and I forgive me for the extra zeros, but the reason I was posting the breakdown of the proposed budget for the stimulus package is so that we can see it. One, two, look at dollar amounts. Three, start thinking. Four, uh, organizing around what we believe some of the stimulus money should go for. If you're interested in seeing the proposed budget, I sent it to you, dear brother. You should have it.
Mm-hmm. I have it.
Just let me know people have it, but it's proposed, so it's not, final. As this is what's happening. And then you asked the question around dollars around police. So what I was trying to do was go through every motion that has been proposed thus far, whether it is an emergency or not, to see whom is asking for what. And this is something that our team is looking at as well to see what they're asking for. Now, the one that I did see that's extremely interesting, and I wanted to point this one out, was the one for the recruit class so that we can understand how it is, how these things are written. So this is the proposed budget to ask for a portion of city for these funds to be American Rescue Plan to be appropriation immediately fund new CPD recruit class in 2021 to better facilitate community policing and criminal investigations. Two, fund additional training and police personnel for CPD's mental health response team. Three, fund training to better integrate the MHRT's mental health response teams with existing mental health and substance abuse providers, and to create a mechanism to track those citizens who are referred to such providers. Four, to fund the local chapter of the Saving Our Kings and Queens Youth Intervention Program, headed by Mitch Morris. Five, to fund Reverend Peterson Mingo's Southern Christian Leadership Program Rites of Passage Initiative, which includes a summer camp, anti-gang, anti-drug education, and numerous youth sports programs in Evanston. And six, to once again fully fund Hope Dudley's You Can Speak for Me Homicide Victims Family Assistance Program. And that's come from the Budget Finance Gooden Smitherman. But you see when these things are written that they are written with additional things attached to them. So they're asking about putting money into the recruit class, but they're also asking that some of the stimulus funds go to fund these programs as well. So I just want to be clear about what is all in one motion. The second one I found around policing, and there is a third, I think there are 35 of them, if I'm not mistaken right now. And this is from, I think this is from Betsy Sunderman. And she's asking for $1.4 million for additional class of 43 recruits to ensure the Cincinnati Police Department can adequately keep up with attrition. The sources of city revenue should first be COPS hiring grant, and then any additional needs funds from the anticipated $291,590,000 the city is to receive from the recently passed federal law rescue plan. I need to see what the chief is putting forth to assess if what Betsy Sunderman is saying is accurate. The first one, I need to understand why they're asking for an additional recruit class and where the complement is. You're absolutely right. There is no scientific study that says that what your complement size is to reduce crime. Those belong to all of the other systems that don't work for people, like housing, like equal pay, like transportation, all those things that government should be working for people to have a livable wage and to be able to live in their city and take care of their families. So I don't see any of that. However, what we have been putting forth for the past 2 years is that the Citizens Complaint Authority is completely funded because it is the independent arm to do the independent investigations and other things that the administrative codified code 28 says it is supposed to do. And I do know that the now executive director, Gabe Davis, is proposing that they get 4 additional investigators to help tackle 1, the backlog, 2, do the additional things that was written in Administrative Code 28 so that we can have the independence by way of the data, so that the recommendations that are made to come out from the findings of the investigations, and that we see correct data based on race, age, community, and that we have the mediation, all those things that was written so long ago, so that that organization can run properly. That is the only thing I think that is connected to police that should be funded. I don't believe the police deserves or should get any additional equipment, anything other than the constant training that they need to make sure that they treat all citizens with fairness and equity. And if that's to answer your question right now, and that's preliminarily because I've not seen all of the recommendations. However, we will have our own, Mr. Ivy, we will have our own. And that's why I was posting what is in the proposed budget. So we can, one, again, look at the dollar amounts, 2, start to think about what it is we want to see come out of this stimulus, this $290 million, or any city budgets or county budgets or state budgets. But we have to think about it and we have to get ahead of it. And you're talking about the $250,000. I'm talking about the $7 million that's going to the all-white arts fund. I want to know why the Black arts isn't mixed up in that and why it wasn't represented in that $7 million. So $250,000 versus the $7 million. I want to know why was it broken out like that. I want to know why other community organizations are not listed in this proposed budget. There's some great things that community people are doing to ensure safety, to help children, to look at feeding people, because that's certainly what we're looking at in the Bond Hill area. That's certainly what small Black businesses need. We need a hand too. So all this dollars that's going to downtown businesses. What about the Black businesses that are not downtown? Hell, if you can afford to have a business downtown, I don't know if you need a stimulus. I don't know if you need stimulus help. You've already gotten our tax dollar once.
Right.
So that's my answer right now. But I've not seen all of them. But just know we're going to have our own as well. So if you're if you're with that life, get with me.
All right. Thank you for the call.
And, the last thing I want.
Oh, you know what? Your email, your email didn't open. Mm-hmm. So you sent it via text to me yesterday. I got it that way, but the email didn't open. Just so you know.
Okay. All right. And then the last thing I want to say about House Bill 22 that we went to the State House and spoke on did not make the agenda this week. Also, House Bill 99. That's the one where they were looking to give teachers the right to carry guns in schools. That was taken off the agenda as well. So we got to keep our eyes not just right here in Cincinnati, but at the state level too. All right. And if anything changes and when we get our stuff together, dear brother, I'll be back on here to tell you what we propose.
Looking forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, most def. Bringing us that substance. And I appreciate the conversation. A lot of interesting questions she brought up. A lot of interesting questions. Maurice writes, take some of this and make committee of overseeing police activities. Well, as she was talking, though, what she said, something just kind of triggered this thought, which is, I do know that the Citizens Complaint Authority has been underfunded. I do know that the new director is saying he wants more investigators. We got this money, this 290. They should take care of that for a couple of years at least. Let's get the investigators. And again, I just really feel like leadership don't really understand just how important that is to the overall health of the community. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason why the CCA, the Citizens Complaint Authority, in my opinion, is important. That's why I talk about it, because what's the use of having it if it can't do everything we want it to do? And if they need more investigators, they need more investigators. Why is that important? That's important because you have citizens that may have complaints. And, part of they tell you being a good citizen is to pay your taxes and follow the rules and go along. Don't start a riot, that kind of stuff, right? Well, part of the reason why people hit the streets like that is they feel like they try these polite channels to try to address their issues, but nothing really happens. And so it leads to frustration. So right now, if you're a member of city council, the mayor, you're concerned with retaining residents. You're concerned with people feeling like they want to live in Cincinnati and stay in Cincinnati and raise a family in Cincinnati, right? Yeah, I mean, I know school board members, they look at the numbers of parents that are leaving the district and they'll use that in their decision making. And as city leaders on the city side of things, I'm sure they look at the numbers of people that are leaving or coming to Cincinnati to determine as to how people feel about the city. But what about homegrown folks that feel some kind of way about Cincinnati because of the way they may get treated by their police department? You got a righteous issue, but there's such a backlog with CAA, you never hear anything back from them. You don't know what's going on with your case. That's not right. These cases need to be dealt with in a timely manner so that thing does what we want it to do. People need to have a voice. Officers make mistakes. They're going to do stuff. You got to have a plan, and a process where the people can feel as if they have an issue that it's going to get the type of time and consideration that it needs. That's all people are asking for. That's all people be asking for, man. Just do what the right thing to do is. It ain't about firing somebody. Just do what's right, whatever that might be. Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Morning, Nathan. It's Kev on the cell.
Kev on the cell. What's up, man?
Trying to make it, man.
Appreciate you. So, now I'm going to have to put you on the time limit, bro. You've been getting long-winded.
Nah, I'm going to be quick. I ain't going to get long-winded. Okay. I have my piece on all of that stuff.
Okay.
But cool. real quickly. quickly. The thing that, first off with the mural, I think that it does make a great talking point. It really does. And we need those things, right? Because a lot of times we lose the opportunity for the passion that's happening in the moment. We go out to do all of this research and stuff like that. And while we're doing that, time's passing. And so people's attention spans are quick, man. And a lot of times we just lose that focus. The thing about the Citizens Complaint Authority, and I know I am not as well versed in it as Iris is that, that's what that organization is supposed to be doing. So we're proposing committees for things that already exist. And the point is, and I am going to be quick because it's really easy to say the same thing I said yesterday. We got to engage. This is great. Your platform is a wonderful place to get the ideas out. It's like being down in the South back in the 60s, where people are meeting and actually coming up with ideas. But we now need to meet together in our individual community councils and things like that, where we can go to the actual city and say, hey, look, we're not just talking about this stuff. We really want you to do things like this. Around the corner from me, there's a basketball court. It's in the middle of the street. And I'm working because there's a big flat piece of land right around the corner from my house where I guess they raised some properties or something. They must have knocked down some properties. And so I'm trying to get them to turn that into a park because I don't understand why there's a big flat piece of land that the city owns around the corner from my house that could be a park. And instead of that, my kids are playing basketball in the middle of the street. That doesn't make sense to me. So we got to stop talking about, what we individually do. And this is not a knock on anybody because I love the fact that folks are fighting and working. And we got to start collectively working together in order to make real change in the city and have our concerns really dealt with. That's all I got, bro. Be blessed. Stay safe.
Oh, most def, Kev. We got to catch up too, bro.
Absolutely, bro.
Yep, that's Kev on the cell. I'm getting to know Kev a little bit more and more. It's funny because I've been doing this radio thing for a long time, y'all. I've been in front of people talking for a long time. So And I only know one way to do it, and that is just kind of like on some levels, kind of put my heart on my sleeve. So I've invited you into some of the most intimate benchmarks of my life over the last 15 plus years. Having children, being married, the ups and downs of being married, um, professionally doing different things like being on the air in commercial radio. And then one day I'm not on the air, all of this kind of stuff happening publicly, starting a whole new venture. Like we talking about issues every day. I'll say it again. I talk to you more than I do to my brothers and sisters. I don't talk to my brothers and sisters as much as I talk to you. Like I probably talk to Drop, and this is sad or whatever, in terms of, I can't say that. I can't say that. Let's just say I got two brothers and two sisters. Some I talk to more than others, but it's all love and cool. That's how it is with siblings. Sometimes you talk and don't. But literally on a day-to-day basis, I talk to you more than I do to my own mother. You know what I'm saying? I don't even talk to her as much as I talk to you every single day. I don't talk to my mother for 3 hours every day. I don't. 2.5 hours. When we talk on the phone, Chairman Mom is she ain't a phone person anyway. I mean, I could be on the phone with my mother like in the middle of something. She like, look, bye, but I gotta go bye. And she hang up the phone. My mother is not the kind of person that when it's time to get off the phone, she's not waiting for your approval and saying bye. It's change of thought, gotta go bye. And she hang up the phone. That's how she is. We might get, if I can get 15 minutes on the phone with my mother at one time, I'm happy. I'm on cloud 9. That's a lot for my mother. And she's just not a phone person like that. At least not with me anyway. Face to face is all love. So I'm saying all this to say, man, like, damn, y'all got a pretty good understanding of like how I see things, like how I process the world, which is all you can really ask of somebody. Cause like I never say something I don't mean. And I mean everything I say. I never do a topic and I take a position just because I think it might get people going. I never do that. If it happens naturally, it happens naturally. To me, that would be you setting yourself up for failure to do that. To me, what my style is. Everybody's got their own style, right? Man, I'm getting to know Kev, man. Kev's a good guy, man. Kev's got a very interesting backstory. I'm not gonna put anything out there. I'll let him do that. But one joy that I've had with all of this is just meeting new people, connecting with people. I'm a natural introvert. That's just who I am. I'm a Virgo. I'm a natural introvert. If not for, having a platform or a show or doing the kind of business where I'm in front of people, I wouldn't naturally be that unless there was something else going on. So just through this show, I've got a chance to meet so many wonderful people, so many really, really good, smart people, Black people, white people, just really good people, man. That's been the best part of it, quite honestly, is like the good people that you meet, you know what I'm saying? Like the smart, intelligent people that you meet, you know what I'm saying? That's the best part of it. For me anyway, to this point, who knows, something in the future might change. I'm like, oh, the best part of it is this, y'all. But for right now, the best part of it for me in this whole experience has been doing it together, you know what I'm saying? And then just meeting a whole lot of really good, smart, intelligent Black people and people in general. That's the best part of life, right? I think so. Brian writes, Nate's in the singing mood. You see, you already know. I get like that sometimes. I'm transparently. You're right. I do. It is. I guess I'm in the singing. I mean, life is good. I'm in a really good place right now because I'm grateful to be alive. And, I just enjoy chopping it up with people. And like I said, I've got a chance to meet a whole lot of really good, smart, intelligent, talented people. And, my kids are relatively healthy. We've been having a good time off and on. And I mean, life is too great. This is such a blessing to wake up every day. You know what I'm saying? So I'm telling you, y'all, I mean, ever since last year, man, it ain't a whole lot that gets me down these days. I'm not saying I'm never down. I mean, I'm human too, but it ain't a whole lot that really bothers me these days. There ain't a whole lot that really gets to me these days. Not really. Because like even the difficult times are a blessing, right? Because I'm alive to enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully these flows will touch somebody this morning and just give you a different way. You might be dealing with some ups and downs, but I'm telling you, if you got your health, And that's if you got your health, because I can feel that there's a lot of people dealing with a lot of stuff out there right now. But you got your health, you got people that love you around you, whether it be a spouse or sibling, brother, sister, friends, you know, collaborators, however you want to look at it. And you get a chance to enjoy that. I mean, what else can you ask for in life? Every day, to me, every day you wake up, you got a shot at whatever you trying to shoot for. You know, everybody's got different goals, but um, I'm telling you, like a near-death experience can do that to you. But I felt this way before that, though, to be honest with you. I'm just a generally happy guy. So I felt that way before my cardiac event last year, quite honestly, fam. It just kind of just made me double down on it. You know what I'm saying? Even more. So take some time to smell the roses. Embrace difficult moments because you're alive to enjoy it. And make the best out of your relationships is all I can really say. Tracy writes, thanks to Sister Iris. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah, she's a big supporter of the show, for sure. Absolutely. Robert writes, Jason Williams is a racist, just like Sharon Coolidge. Well, that's strong language right there, Robert. I'm not here to in any way tell you that you're wrong, because that's how you feel. That's how you feel about it. I can't, from where I sit, I can't say that I know that Jason Williams and or Sharon Coolidge are racist. Okay, I can't say that. I mean, there's a lot, primarily with Jason Williams. I mean, we get a chance to read his column, see where he's coming from, so you get a sense of, where he's coming from. And I'm not coming from the same place he is on a lot of political issues. Okay. You can definitely tell he has his bias from time to time, but that's no different from this show. People can listen to me and say, oh, he's biased. And you're right. So I'm not really, I'm not prepared to say that I believe that Jason Williams is a racist or Sharon Coolidge. I've heard people say it about them, but I can't say that about them from what I've seen. Do I agree with what appears to be their viewpoint and some of their reporting? No. But I mean, like I told you, life would be boring if everybody had the same viewpoint. I mean, what the fuck would we talk about? You know what I'm saying? Jason Williams give us something to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Sharon Coolidge, they give me, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm just being transparent with you. They give me something to talk about. So keep it coming. And, where there's critiques that's necessary, I'm going to give it. But, that's just the role of the media. You know what I'm saying? Both of those individuals must be good at what they do because they're getting paid to do it. You know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is. It is what it is. So I may disagree with their viewpoints, but I can't say they're racist. Letty writes, they don't care about us, Nathan Ivey. Michael Jackson sung it so clear. We're waiting on city officials, people to do what for us? When we've been fighting since MLK and we still being undermined with lies, deceits, destruction, all the other moves. Well, I think that as Iris was calling in, she was saying some things and it made me think about some things that I make sure I want to say. So we've been talking about Black Lives Matter, and that was my focus for various reasons. But there's a bigger issue here, and that's the bigger issue is the bigger amount of money in the budget. You know what I'm saying? That's the bigger issue. And I think that if we're going to be smart, intelligent people about it, then I would encourage you to do some searching and to read up on what the proposals are. And she said, these are just proposals. We should be well versed on exactly what's being proposed so we can be intelligent about it. Because we don't want to be looking stupid. Okay. So, I think that's a big part of this conversation that I've been remiss in my duties to say. And Sister Iris just sort of jogged my memory. So I think that's very, very important to put that out there. There's a larger discussion that's bigger than just a Black Lives Matter mural. And there's a bigger pot of money. This is just a proposal. What does that mean? That means that you can email your city council person, your representative, and influence them and tell them how you feel and tell them what you think about their proposals. But I think it starts with us doing some education to make sure we know exactly what's being proposed, where the money's supposed to be going, and then be intelligent about what other programs are out there and where we think the money should be going. So if you feel like, oh, it shouldn't be going here, then where should it be going? It's not enough. It's not intelligence to just say, don't put it there. It's more intelligence to have, some education behind it so you know where you want the money to go. And then shoot that in an email to the various members of city council. Right? Because they're the ones that are going to make this decision. So that's why this conversation, that's the whole usefulness on some levels of the conversation. One, to hopefully edutain you as you've been making your transition this morning. Thank you for being here with me. But then two, just to give you some avenue on how you can impact the system, because it's not all just lip service. It doesn't have to all just be lip service. But enough of me. I feel like I said a billion things inside of 30 seconds. Let's go straight to the phones and say good morning. Welcome to the show.
What's going on, Nate? Good morning, brother.
Hey, what's up, Glenn?
Nothing much, man. I understand your point about Jason Williams, and he's providing tea for the show. But man, I'm anti Jason Williams. I call him Peter Bronson Jr., Nate, and I think that's where he come from. Put it this way: the only reason why he's down the Dow, he's not down there because he's a moderate. He's not down there because he's fair and balanced. He plays the same old hillbillyology because, he grew up in those rural areas up in Ohio, and that's all he talks about. He's one of those, well, the Democrats need to go talk to those people in the rural community. It's those fools in the rural community that showed up on January 6th. It's those fools in those rural communities that bought into Sidney Powell's lies, mate. It's those fools in those rural communities that Jason loves to cape for on the station down the Dow, acting like it's the damn fault that racist people aren't seeing their way. I mean, the guy won't even take my phone calls, Nate, because he know I'm coming at him hard. I'm going to ask him these questions.
But do you think he's a racist? Do you feel like Jason Williams is a racist? That's the comment I was responding to.
You know what, Nate? I got that TSA tingle about bro, man. That's the best way I can explain it. Like I said, he got that same mentality of a Peter Bronson. And once Peter Bronson left the Cincinnati Enquirer, he's turned to a full-blown MAGA bigot.
Oh, did he?
That's his whole. Oh yeah, that's his whole thing now. He's still talking about the 2001 riots. He's caping for Donald Trump and how the media is anti-Donald Trump, and why aren't they just as harsh on Joe Biden as they were on Donald Trump? And like I said, Nate, we got 4 years worth of ish on Donald Trump. Joe Biden been in office, 2 months? 2 months. Then I hear this fool drop calling talking about, well, he's finally getting, out there 65 days, after he became president. Guess what, drop? We don't want the crap that happened the last 4 years. It's actually cool that a president act like a damn president. The last thing we want to hear is a guy talking about UV lights, Lysol, and purple drink to freaking cure COVID. Am I lying or flying, man?
I'm with you, brother.
And let me say this as far as the city budgets proposals are concerned. I said this with Lincoln Ware yesterday. Nate, they're already setting up the mayoral candidates, and David Mann more specifically. He's lining himself up with CPD, Dan Hills, and the West Siders to play we need to make sure that we can fund police and fire, despite the fact that they cover, 68% of the city's budget. 68% of the city's budget, but they don't want to, they're fighting like hell to keep, $50 million to go for low-income housing. And I've said it before. Remember when SE Cincinnati was talking about the parking lot? Somehow, some way, $35 million just flew out the city budget's ass and just came out of nowhere. Oh, we went back and readjusted the numbers, and we found $35 million. They can find $35 million, but wasn't that long ago where Stan Chesley every year was, asked to give up, $300,000 so he can keep the city pools open. The same city pools that you and I used to go to when we were kids. But we got to ask a lawyer to give money to keep city pools open. But they can find $35 million so they can put a damn parking lot for FC Cincinnati. And by the way, if you live across the street from that stadium, that whole bleak night show that goes on every night, do you really want that? Turn off the lights, man. I'm trying to sleep. You feel me?
No, I didn't. I can't understand what you were saying.
You didn't? I'm sorry. Am I breaking up?
I'm not sure if it was breaking up. It just to my ear, it's like the last 2 sentences you said. Could you go back and say it again, if you can remember?
Oh, I was talking about FC Cincinnati and the new stadium, and they got the lights that look like blink all night.
Oh, okay.
And, shit just yeah. It's a great looking stadium, but again, Nate, it's all about priorities and what do people prioritize. I'm glad to hear Sister Iris call in and talk about the other programs out there, but I'm telling you now, Cincinnati residents, they're already setting up to where they're going to have a significant portion of this $290 million be supported by David Mann and Dan Hills, and they're going to act like, since CPD is about to be defunded, they already plan that defund the police and the $50 million for low-income housing are somehow synonymous with each other. I mean, again, I don't know what the city budget is. It has to be, a couple $1 billion or something like that a year. I'm sure somebody knows this stuff. But taking $50 million out of billions of dollars, it can't be that detrimental to the budget because, again, somehow, some way, they're able to find tens of millions of dollars when it comes to stadiums for baseball, football, and soccer. Prioritize the people. And you're absolutely right, Nate. It seems like they just gave the states a bunch of money. Now it's up to your local and state legislators to prioritize what the people really want. And this is your opportunity. And, next year, or if it's this year or next year, you get to vote on 8 city council people? If I'm not correct? So, people get your plans together. Get your proposals out there. Let's not wait till 2 months before the freaking election like Ice Cube so you can get your Gucci Gang platinum plan out. Do it right now. I mean, am I saying anything you disagree with?
Not at all, man. Hey, listen, Drop is in here capping on you. He says...
Who is Drop?
Drop Squad 52. He says...
Oh, you mean Sydney Drop Powell. That's what they call him, Sydney Drop Powell.
Right. Sydney Drop Powell 52. He writes, Glenn is going through a nicotine withdrawal. That's what he said.
No, actually, I'm not, man. I'm 5 days in, Nate. I'm telling you, can hear me now. I'm chewing that Nicorette gum right now. I'm loving it. I got a new sweat for Eddie. Yeah, man, let me tell you. I got the dumbbells. I got the 50s on each side, doing the incline press. Drop ain't ready. He walking around retired with some tight-ass Asics. The laces are so tight, they look like stitches. You got people walking up to him like, ooh, did that hurt? Waiting to rub Neosporin on his gym shoes. I mean, you should have used some of that semi drop to go buy you a pair of Nikes or something. Don't nobody wear Asics anymore. I know, what is he wearing? Deodoras now? Remember those? Drop probably got some throwback 3/4 kangaroos. In the bright red, MAGA red kangaroos. You remember the kangaroo shoes back in the day?
I remember them. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
why are you going in on him like that?
My freshman year at Kentucky State, man, they actually wore the kangaroos. They really did. I was like, where the hell they come from? But yeah, so nobody pays. You know what Drop? You talk about nicotine withdrawal. Drop is suffering from Twitter withdrawal. It's driving him crazy. And did you hear that Donald Trump is starting his own social media platform now?
I did.
Did you hear about that?
Yeah. I did hear that, yeah.
But you know what he's going to do, Nate? For $9.99 a month, you can get on the Donald Trump social media Twitter page.
Oh, it's going to work too.
Of course it's going to work, Nate, because he was able to fool those fools into spending giving them $250 to $300 million for a stop the steal defense fund, and he got it from small donors, guys like Drop, guys like the alt middle. And by the way, I see old Black Bethel. He's talking about John Cranley for governor and all that crap. Can you tell the story again about the alt middle and the tight ass medium John Cranley t-shirts protesting the NAACP meeting? Oh, and by the way, there was a black sister that was running against John Cranley, but who did the alt middle support in some tight ass shirts that look like halter tops? The white guy. So they can never say anything. They just like Donald Trump. I got 4 years worth of ish on you too. So don't try it. Don't even try it. But Nate, I just had to get that off my chest, man. And like I said, I'm Flows rated E for everybody. And I'm going old school. Hopefully in the end, you getting what I'm spitting. I'm going to put that in my podcast today. I'm going to drop another one today on the Politically Petty podcast show. I got a lot of stuff on my mind. See, what's happened, Nate? I've been unleashed. You start lifting and feeling a little better, get the cardio on, man. Glenny got his groove back, man. That's how I'm feeling right now. You feel me? Matter of fact, Nate, I'm drinking organic tea as we speak. Listen to this sip.
I love it.
And it tastes good. And I got my Ice Mountain 1.5 liter bottle of water right next to me, too.
Love it.
So I got the tea, I got the water, I got the microphone, I got the laptop, and the audio interface. What more do I need, Nate? I appreciate you taking my call, brother.
Appreciate you making the call. That's that's Mason Marler. You're right, man. Y'all right. He is hilarious. That's hilarious. Fame writes, Glenn, your neighbors are Tea Party members. Dale writes, did he say kangaroos? Terry writes, good morning, Nate. I hope the city won't waste that money on a mural. I mean, to me, it's a waste, but to other people, they might think that it's actually, worth the investment. I just want to have the conversation, but I just want to make this point, though, that the larger conversation is bigger than just a mural. The larger conversation is, what's your priority for $290 million? That's how you should be thinking about it. You have every right to think that way. You have every right to sit down and write down a list of priorities and then email to all of the members of city council. You have every right. In fact, that's your civic duty. So this ain't for everybody. For those that are inclined to do those kind of things, like you've got that kind of time, because other folks are like, man, I want to, Nate, but I got to work. I work too. I got other things to do. I got family. I get it. But for those that's inclined to follow through on those kind of things, go ahead and do it. Why not? Let me see. Last call before we roll this morning. Hey, good morning. Welcome.
Welcome, comrade. Thank you.
Oh, what's up, Black Russia?
Hey, what's happening? I'm going to make it quick. I know you got to get off the air. I'm going to ask you and the audience a simple question.
I might be on a little bit longer, but go ahead.
Okay, well, we'll see how this goes. Hey, who you want, John Crowley or Mike DeWine for governor? If you had to pick between those two.
If I had to pick between the two, I would say that I probably would want John Cranley.
All right, boom. Have a great day. Take it from there.
That's it. That's it. That's easy. Yeah, I wanted to add, I've thought about that. That's why I was able to come up with it so quickly. I've actually thought about it because honestly, I don't really like either one of them. But between the two, I think that I would be, if I had to choose between those two, and those are two on the ballot, I think I'm going to go with Cranley. And that's quite unfortunate, right? Because I don't think that Cranley has done a great job as the mayor of Cincinnati, okay? But the way I look at it is that matters, and I'm going to bring that into whatever race John Cranley goes into. But these races are typically not a choice between like my perfect candidate and then a less perfect candidate. Like you don't always get that choice in an election. You don't always get to choose between two candidates that you really like, or at least even one candidate that you really like. Sometimes it's the lesser of two evils. And if it comes to that with John Cranley and Mike DeWine, then that's how I will look at it. And I think that they're similar on a lot of issues, but I think there may be some differences between the two. You know what I'm saying? I'm just being honest with you. That's how I sit here right now. I hope we don't have to make that decision. We deserve better, but we don't always get better in terms of the choices that we have to make between candidates. We don't get a chance to choose between that absolute best candidate, like, oh, I really want this person to be in there, and then somebody that you have lesser feelings about. Sometimes you have two candidates and you don't like neither one of these mofos. I don't like either one of them. Sometimes it's like that. And as adults, we still have to make a effing decision. We got to do our research and find issues and try to find differences that align with what we want to see in the world. So that's what I would do if I'm in that particular position in that race. Lord, please don't put us in that position, but looks like that might be where we might be headed. Charles writes, Kevin Aldridge is a good brother. At Inquiry, he is fair and objective. Well, everybody knows I know Kevin. I think very favorably of Kevin Aldridge. And all I can tell you is from my interaction with Kevin, Kevin is a real brother. Just got a job to do, who's good at his job. I think he's good at his job. And, he's trying to do his job. And at the same time, where it makes sense, have those conversations that really matter, in the city of Cincinnati. So, yeah, I don't think that, I know, listen, if anybody has a problem with the hate or the distrust, should I say, the distrust, between the black community in Cincinnati and the Inquirer, you got to blame the Inquirer. You got to blame, it's their fault. It's their fault for their years and years and years and years of bad news, news reporting and bias reporting, which I think they even admitted to a few years back. The NAACP made them admit it. Okay, but, that was then. This is now. So it is what it is. I hate to cut off that thought there, but I got to make a move here. Good morning, everybody. Hey, listen, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. I'll be back and hopefully better than ever with you tomorrow morning. Of course, today at 1 p.m., Midday Juice with Ask Ashley. Tomorrow at 12:30 p.m., the Is It Just Me podcast with Donnie B. And check it out. Donnie's going to be talking about numerous things, including, I think she's going to hit the budget. She'll be talking about some of them hot button issues that happened this week as well with brother Derek Jackson. Remember him? That story is still out there. I didn't even talk about it this morning, and there's video of his wife and new memes and stuff. Maybe we'll get to it tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Listen, have an excellent rest of your day, family. I appreciate you. All right. Please like and in particular share this show. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning, bright and early. We'll chop it up. Until then, take care of yourself, and we'll talk real soon.